Good morning and welcome to Nigeria Now, showing on your digital first Pan-African news network. Of course, it's Standard, it's Friday. My name is Merciful Ajinimo. Join us in the studio to analyze some stories this morning on the front pages of newspapers is Adebayo Fajimi. Welcome to the show, sir.
Thank you very much.
How have you been?
Yeah, very well.
Good. We have a couple of stories this morning and we begin from the Punch newspaper. The banner headline there, of course, is a big story talking about Russia-Ukraine war. Stranded Nigerians send SOS to Buhari, demand evacuation. That story is on page 2 of the Punch newspaper. Two riders. The first, federal government fails to provide timeline for evacuation as Ukraine shuts airspace. And the second, experts slam government for delay as Nigerians invaded nation, writes Buhari. I know you are very much aware of what's going on between Ukraine and Russia, and now we have Nigerian citizens of Nigeria in Ukraine. And now this headline is saying experts are slamming Nigerian government for the delay in rescuing them. What do you have to say about this story?
Yeah, well, of course, there has been an uproar since this issue started, I think Wednesday when the president of Russia, ordered that invasion. And Nigerians have been expecting, the leadership of the country to be proactive, to take a step ahead of, what is really happening now too, because if we are really studying the situation, we are supposed to have seen the evacuation earlier before now. And even at the plenary yesterday, the House of Representatives also, deliberated on that, and that evacuation was demanded. So I think it is high time Nigerian, governments do something, because in fact I think I have a friend, who also resides in Russia, was just giving, all manner of updates yesterday where you can run to for safety and all of that. So what is happening there? It's not a good thing. So, but federal government needs to do something so that our people hope they do not follow that pathetic incident that is going on there.
I totally agree with you on that one. Still on the Punch newspaper from the very top, 5G rollout. NCC confirms receipt of $547.2 million license fees from MTN Mafab. That's on page 25. And then on page 10, we see APC discussing zoning presidency to South, says Erifai. On page 24, Buhari ignorant of Southwest infrastructural problems. That's coming from Afenifere. And on page 25, Naira loses 10.6% of value annually, says IMF. Of course, underneath the picture of the day there, we see bring back Nigerians in Ukraine. Reps tell President Muhammadu Buhari. And that's on the front page right there. On page 8, $500,000 or $10 bribe. Appeal court dismisses 2-count, jails Farouk Lawan 5 years. On page 5, pregnant housewife fakes kidnap, buys house with ransom from Facebook lover. On page 4 and 5, mob stones Lagos task force, lynches officer for impounding motorcycles. And then on page 41, Oyo may produce APC National Secretary, Governor's Plan meeting. And in Ogun State, police arrest housewife who killed husband with hot water. And Buhari says, I won't exceed 2023. I swore by the Quran. That's on page 17. And this statement by Buhari, is it a necessary statement, you would say? Because the expectation of most Nigerians is that this is the end of terror. So what do you think this statement is coming to? What does it signify really?
It is needless. Of course, it has been stated in the constitution that you are to use or spend 2 terms. So after the second term, you are supposed to go. So why swearing with the Quran? There is maybe because of what is going on in African continent now.
And the level of corruption.
Yes. So you have spite of military coups in Africa. And considering the situation of the country, so there are insinuations that probably at the end of the day, and don't forget, we have this sit-tight syndrome also. So maybe because of this, there has been an insinuation that, maybe at the end of the day, he too may not want to
step down,
transformed, authoritarian, So maybe that's the reason, but I don't think the statement, if it's truly, a Democrat now, it doesn't need to be swearing with Quran.
Definitely, I totally agree. On Nigerian Tribune newspaper, the banner headline there is fresh uproar in APC over party chair. That's on page 5. We did talk about the National Convention of APC and how they have moved it back and forth, and later fixed it for February. And now again, what is happening in APC? What is really happening? I want to get your your feedback on what's happening in that party.
Yeah, it is interest and also strategy to ensure that 2023 is a win-win for them. Because if you study it very well, this convention has been postponed 3 times now to March 26, and now fresh opera and all of that. So it's about, because whatever happens or affects that convention, we affect the chances of the party in 2023. So everything is about a strategy plan to ensure that everything goes well with the party at the convention, and most especially because it is at the convention that
decide
they will determine who will be the next chairman and who will work. That's where they will constitute or formulate the neck of the party. And if they do not have a formidable team at that convention, there is no way it will not affect their chances in the election. And don't forget, we have a lot of factions in the party already, I think in about 20-something states. So, and you know what that means. So if all these people are not able to come together, you know what that will tell about the party in the next
elections. Definitely. On Electoral Act, that's on page 25. What will become law today if Buhari signs 119-page document? That's on page 25 of the Nigerian Tribune. Of course, there are a couple of writers there. 5 million naira fine or 2 years jail or both for INEC staff refusing to disclose party membership, and a couple of other writers there. We move over to the Guardian newspaper, of course, still talking about Russia-Ukraine war, and of course, it's distorting global market. That's on the Guardian newspaper. On Vanguard, why military is reluctant to wipe out bandits? That's Governor Erufai saying that. We can get that on page 5. We have a couple of writers. Says terrorists control resources so huge they can destabilize Nigeria, and discloses preliminary investigations implicated some police, military personnel, and mutual distrust, the suspicion among security agencies, feeling insecurity. That's coming from the DG of DSS. Besides that, the picture of the day there, we see 2023, I'm fit to rule Nigeria. That's coming from Tinubu, and that's on page 9 of the Vanguard newspaper. Daily Sun banner headline there is 2023, businessmen to buy farm for Simbajo, Emefiele under pressure. Kwankoso says those insisting on zoning are lazy politicians. That's on page 26 and page 29 of the Daily Sun newspaper. And then we see soldiers killed 139 terrorists, kidnappers, bandits in 2 weeks. That's coming from Defense Headquarters. And the writer says another 466 surrender. Of course, that's on page 6 of the Daily Sun. On page 29 of Ferry hits Buhari over trekking from Lagos to Ibadan comment. And then on the Ukraine crisis, 400 stranded Nigerian students cry for help. That was on page 6. Federal government reassures Nigerians of safety, and oil price rises. Then we see Opebi plane crash. Aircraft didn't have sufficient fuel to destination. AIB investigation reveals. And we can get it on page 2. On page 5, court orders interim seizure of Okorocha's Abuja property. That's on that newspaper right there. Don't forget, you can always be a part of our social media community and also our website to know what is happening, of course, in Nigeria and, of course, across Africa, sometimes across the world as well. That's www.tostvnetwork.com, and our social media platform is at TOSTV Network on all platforms, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Thank you, Mr. Adebayo, for joining us today.
Thank you very much.
And thank you, viewers. Do have a wonderful weekend. We see you on Monday.